So Japheth, what's your view on talent across Africa?
So let me start with this mobility issue and my experience on the boards of East African breweries. By the way, my CV has become very, very short. Did you see what was happening there? You know, all these others that were there are no longer there. So, you know, I don't know how I'll bump it up like Alexis. Mobility, my experience is that actually in some organizations in Africa, you see a lot of mobility. East African breweries, Uganda breweries, a lot of mobility. And people ask, but why are we not having Ugandans, only Ugandans at Uganda breweries? And they say, did you know that within East Africa, Uganda has the largest number of expats outside Uganda in East African breweries, and so on and so forth. And we see a lot of mobility. Of course, the borders are not yet clearly open. People still need work permits. Even in East Africa, you know, some people struggle to get a work permit. But mobility is going to be a very big factor. So what are we seeing, the trends? And what are the drivers? Definitely, technology is driving the talent and the talent of the future. And when we talk about the technology, we're seeing things like cyber security experts and so on. You know, as the job that were not there 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, you didn't see in the papers. They are now, and they are demanded everywhere in Africa. ESG, our Lynda here, I was told she's an expert in ESG, is driving. At board level, you cannot believe how many people approach me saying we need a board member with ESG expertise and so on. And it's also going to be at the level of staff. In East Africa itself, we are seeing more movement. I mean, it's not all equal, but we've seen more movement of people within East Africa. You know, you go to Tanzania, you go to Kenya, you find that it's not yet, of course, 100% balance, but that is going to be a very big factor. The economic and geopolitical disruption that we have seen are going to be a very big factor in people, in mobility within Africa and so on. If the borders were actually open, you'd be amazed to see how people are moving. For there are pockets where they have a bit of excess and pockets where there is a lot of deficit. But in these areas that I've mentioned, there is definitely there is a deficit. Of course, the COVID after effects also have impacted on the way we work. Mobility is important, but you do not have to actually move to be able to work. So that is also influencing the trend in the talent that you get in Africa and the region. Of course, the whole growth areas have completely changed. Ruth is not here, but she warned me about McKinsey and Forbes and so on, but I'm not going. I can talk about KPMG. KPMG did a survey for East Africa and found that actually the jobs that are coming up are in terms of technology, definitely the digitization, sustainability. I mean, 5 years ago, you did not have heads of sustainability and so on in organizations. So you're getting that. Interestingly, education also, and it is not, there is a great demand for executive education and for education in specialist areas. There's still demand for schools and so on. But that is going to be a bit. Interestingly, agriculture is another area that they found, even in the World Economic Forum report, that agriculture is also an area where you are getting a lot of the new talent, and that's growing in Africa. And now we are talking about green agriculture. So those are the areas that are growing, and that's the trend that we are seeing in East Africa and in Africa. Then the skills are becoming completely different. For us accountants, IFRS was a very big thing, but people are now looking for people who can think critically and creatively. In fact, people who did art, design, and things like that are in very great demand than probably for us who did things that were, why are you doing this way? Because international financial reporting standards say you do it this way. So you are getting more creative thinking people. And then we want people who are terms which we never use, resilient. What is resilient person? All right? Resilient, flexible, agile, innovation. So The World Economic Forum said that 44% of the workers, there is interruption in their skills over the next 5 years. But have we got that interruption in the schools and in the syllabus? And I'm looking at some academics looking at me straight. So we have got to interrupt the syllabus, both right from primary and so on and so forth. So therefore, in P7 examination, it should not be who discovered Lake Victoria, but what does Lake Victoria add to Uganda's economy, to East African economy, and what are the risks to the fish in Lake Victoria, environment and otherwise. So there was need for disruption. So let me stop there, and those were my views about what we're seeing, but not only here in Africa, the change in the talent moving forward. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Japheth.